Here's a news flash. Science and research confirm that women get better as we age. Hundreds of studies and decades of research involving millions of people show that many of the qualities women value most actually get better with age. Emotional regulation, resilience, discernment, confidence, purpose, and overall well being. So, this is crazy. I'm so excited to talk about this. But science is beginning to confirm what many women already know about the second half of their life, that aging doesn't only take things from us, maybe a little collagen, it gives us emotional strength. As I said, discernment, resilience, clarity, and courage to finally be ourselves. Stop people pleasing and do what brings purpose and meaning. So, believe it or not, I have come up with enough reasons from my own and the research that I've done. I have 25 reasons, and we're not going to get into all of them tonight. But I just feel like this is a really important topic. If you're new to my channel, what I do here is I talk about rebuilding your life in the second half. A lot of people are concerned with having enough income, their retirement, not running out of money. So we talk a lot about financial wisdom, protecting and creating a new income stream if that's something that you need to do. But let's go ahead and get into some of the things that I recently discovered about research. So number one, think about young women. There's so much pressure on your identity and people pleasing and fitting in, the social life and all that stuff. Who am I? Am I attractive? And the identity that we were given by our parents and what everybody expects from us, our employers, our teachers, society. And we are typically less likely to build a life around wanting to be liked or wanting to be approved of. And so as we get older, we're more likely to build a life around what actually brings us purpose and meaning. So number one, we know who we are as we get older. Number two, as I even just said, we are less dependent on external validation. So this was in the American Psychological Association research, but women frequently describe that they have less of a need to impress, less comparison with other women. I love that. Less fear of being misunderstood, less willingness to perform a version of themselves, and a greater ability to say, this is who I am. So this is the research, the version of what women often call finally not caring, but it is really greater internal authority. And I think that's the key here, kind of going inside more in the second half. Number three, we regulate our emotions better. We're more likely to ask, is this worth my energy as we age? Will this matter in a year from now? Do I need to respond or merely observe? And what have I learned from something like this before? So our experience gives us it gives us the character to know what has worked and what hasn't worked in the past, even as we're evolving. We still experience pain, but the pain does not automatically take command. Number four, as I just said, we have survived enough to trust ourselves. Let's see. Number five, we are more selective about our relationships, right? As we get older, people recognize that time is finite. I don't know about you, but as I age, I think about how much time I have left in my life, and I want to make it worth it. And so I am going to be more selective about who I spend my time with. We are better at recognizing who is safe, who is reciprocal, who repeatedly takes without giving, and which relationships have merely been maintained out of habit. So that brings me to my next number six item on the list as to why we women get better as we age. Our boundaries become clearer. When we're younger, we tend to be a little more agreeable about fitting in and socialized and accommodating. and even responsible for everybody else's comfort. But older women have usually lived through the consequences of these insufficient boundaries. So we learn that kindness without boundaries becomes like desperation. And it actually depletes our energy and creates resentment or even self abandonment. So we are more able and more comfortable to say no instead of yes when we really don't mean it. Number 7, we stop confusing being needed with being loved. So, we can spend decades when we're younger deriving our identity from caregiving, children, spouse, parents, employees, clients, and the community. In the second half, many people begin asking, who am I when I am not rescuing, fixing, or carrying everyone else? Right? I love this. My mother used to say to me, we spend the first half of our lives accumulating, taking care of, and being responsible for, and the second half of our lives we spend typically becoming, simplifying our lives and doing things that we really want to do versus that we have to do for taking care of others. So experience creates pattern recognition. And so number 8, this brings me to number 8, we become a better judge of character. We have had experience with others and seen empty words and charm without integrity, words without follow through, ambition without discipline, and affection without commitment. This is one of the greatest underappreciated advantages of age. Discernment becomes faster because women we're no longer evaluating every single situation for the first time. So I have just 2 more. I'm going to do 10 reasons here. We understand disappointment is survivable. In the second half of our lives, we realize we've gone through losses. It happens. The first half of our lives, we lose someone for the first time, right? They pass away. I remember going to my very first funeral when I was 40 years old. That was crazy. And so now that I'm in the second half of my life, I've experienced a lot of things, major disappointments, major changes and losses, and I have not died from it. In fact, it's made me stronger and it's given me more, character and perseverance and grit. So we understand later in life that disappointment is survivable. And lastly, we become more realistic. Maturity replaces fantasy with informed hope. We no longer believe that everything's going to necessarily work out as planned, but we trust ourselves and our ability to make good judgments. We've learned from our past, and we know that life can be beautiful even if we don't have all of the things that we think we need. A spouse, that perfect job, whatever it is. I live in a much smaller home now. And I have to say, I am very, very happy and comfortable where I am. That's the last one, having a stronger hope because it survived contact with reality. That's the last one there. We know that we can have a beautiful life and it doesn't have to always go as we expected it to. I have a greater faith now that I'm older, and I have a greater ability to have compassion for people. And I like to say that as I'm aging, I'm wearing life like a loose garment, more so than before, and being strict about my opinions and whatnot. I'm being much more open-minded. So I hope you've enjoyed this. But just to end on the note, it's really kind of shocking to me that I was able to come up with 25 reasons that research and science and my own experience shows that women get better, not older. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you soon.